Alright, and hello, welcome back to another edition of the Vacation Voyages, doing another IMO ship review on the Oasis of the Seas. This time, we're going to get started right after these words. Let's go. Okay, so the first time we went on the Oasis of the Seas was back in 2015, November 2015, during the Thanksgiving holiday. And we went back on it just recently, back in November of 2021, almost exactly 6 years later. And we're going to talk about it because I've been on it twice. I enjoyed it twice. A couple of things I did not enjoy that we will talk about as well. So let's get started. They have 18 decks on the ship, starting with deck 3 is where you can actually do stuff. Goes up all the way to 18. We'll talk about the important parts of the deck and the ship layout as well. So we're going to start out with deck 3. So deck 3 only has two things that you can really do on the ship, and that's the main dining room on one end of the ship, and then you have the Royal Theater on the other end of the ship. Now on deck 4 you have the theater, followed by Blaze Comedy Club. You have the Diamond Club. You also have Studio B, the art gallery on deck 4, as well as the casino. You also have Jazz on 4, Izumi's. Main dining room is actually decks 3, 4, and 5. Royal Theater is actually decks 3, 4, and 5. You can only enter the Royal Theater on deck 4 and 5, but it actually drops down another floor as well. Okay, deck 5 is your Royal Promenade deck. That's where you got all your shops. You got a pub, Bionic Bar, you got Starbucks, Spotlight Karaoke, Boleros, a lot of stuff to do in the Royal Promenade. Now, deck 5 also has the outdoor track, which you can run around. I do believe it also has some shuffleboard as well. Really cool little area as well. So that's all that's on deck 5. So right above the Royal Promenade on deck 6 you have Schooner Bar. You also have Picture This, where you get all the pictures that they've taken of you throughout the entire cruise. Once you go towards the outside on deck 6, that's where you will find one of your neighborhoods called the Boardwalk. Really cool additions to these newer, bigger ships. They have this huge neighborhood area that has a carousel for kids to go around on. They have Playmakers Bar and Grill on the Boardwalk as well. The Aqua Theater, which is one of their biggest shows that they put on. They also have Doghouse, where you can eat hot dogs. Johnny Rockets on there. They have a candy shop, and they have a beach shop as well. Right beside the Aqua Theater, there are two rock climbing walls, but you have to go up the stairs to deck 7 to get to the rock climbing walls. Okay, now for deck 8, we have another neighborhood called Central Park. You will find Giovanni's Italian restaurant there, Chops Grill, which is your steakhouse. You will find 150 Central Park, which is another paid restaurant, and then you will have a couple bars. You actually have the Rising Tide Bar that goes in the middle of Central Park. It starts down in the promenade and rises up to deck 8 to Central Park. Also on deck 8 is the music hall, which is where live bands play. It's deck 8 and deck 9. It has two floors on that area. Okay, so for deck 9 through 12 is pretty much all rooms. There is an entrance to the music hall on deck 9. I think deck 10 and 11 has a small little area called the card room where you can go and play games and cards and stuff as well. But for the most part, it's all nothing but rooms. There is no deck 13, by the way. It goes from 12 to 14. Okay, so for deck 14, the only two things they have on that deck is Adventure Ocean, which is for all the kids, and they also have the Escape Room, which is the game that you play to try to get out of the room. So for deck 15, that is your main Lido deck. A little chopped up because you have all these openings from the Boardwalk as well as Central Park, so they have pools on either side of those openings, jacuzzis. They have the Solarium, which is the adult only area. Also has Challenger's Arcade for the kids. They have a teen area on that deck as well. Mini golf, the sports court, which is the basketball court, portside barbecue, and El Loco Fresh. So a ton of stuff on deck 15, kind of chopped up. It's also where you can watch all of your movies. That's where they have their main screen to watch movies at night. All right, so for deck 16, you have your Windjammer, which is your buffet. Big place, a lot of room to eat. You'll need it for that many people being on the ship. Also on 16, you have your flow riders on either side of the ship, which is on the aft of the ship. Then you have the Abyss, which is the dry slide that starts on deck 16 and goes all the way down to deck 6. And they also have the zip line, which I have tried. And they also have the wipeout bar and the Solarium Bar on deck 16 as well. And then finally on deck 17, you have the suites area, which is the suites sun deck. People who bought a suite on the cruise, they have access to the suite sun deck and also the suites lounge, where they have their own personal buffet and stuff like that. And that is it. Put on your walking shoes if you get on an Oasis class ship. If you have issues walking, maybe an Oasis class ship isn't for you. Everything is wheelchair accessible, even scooter accessible. The ship is big enough for people who have issues getting around on the ship and have wheelchair accessibility or scooters. It's easy to get around on that ship. It's 3.5 football fields long. So to give you an idea of how much walking you will be doing on a ship like that, when you have that many people on a ship, you want it bigger so it doesn't feel like you're so crowded. So anyway, that's the layout of the ship. Okay, so now we're just going to talk about muster stations. As soon as you get on a ship, you need to be doing a muster station because it takes 30 seconds. It's the easiest thing in the world to do. You go to your muster station and they will show you how to put a life jacket on. It takes no time whatsoever. The only exception to that would be if you've booked specialty restaurants or if you bought the specialty restaurant package and you couldn't book online, you had to wait until you get on the ship. You need to do that first instead of the muster station first because they book up super fast. Last time we went on a cruise, it was the Wonder of the Seas. The first thing we did was book our reservations for all of our specialty dining because they booked up so fast they went before the end of the day was over. You couldn't even find a restaurant. So reserve those first before you go to the muster station. If you don't have to worry about any of that stuff, then yeah, muster station should be the first thing you do. You watch them put on a life jacket. It takes 30 seconds. Then after that, watch a couple videos on the app and you're done. Okay, now let's talk about the food on the ship. First thing we're going to go through is all the specialty restaurants. There's a lot of pay restaurants. They offer deals online before you take the cruise, or you can buy them when you get on the cruise. Places like Chop's Grill, which is the steak, Giovanni's, which is the Italian, 150 Central Park, which is more of an elegant type of dining. They have Azumi's, which is the Japanese hibachi grill and sushi bar. Johnny Rockets, Playmakers, which are less expensive, but Johnny Rockets is a pay as well as Playmakers. Playmakers is pretty much your bar food, wings, burgers, stuff like that. Then you have your Portside Barbecue, which is your barbecue place, but it is a pay, not very expensive. Pretty much that's it. Starbucks you have to pay, but that's more coffee. They do offer snacks and stuff as well at Starbucks, but as far as your pay restaurants, those are your major ones. Chops, if you've never eaten at Chops, it's a steak place and it's excellent. Then there's Azumi's, Japanese hibachi style grill. It was good. The only issue I have with Azumi's is it's a pay restaurant, but you also have to pay more once you get there. It's like a $10 per person upcharge. But if you like Japanese food, it's a good restaurant to eat at. Giovanni's. Now, this is where we go back and forth. If you watch any of my other vlogs, I talk highly of Giovanni's, but the two cruise ships that I've reviewed with those Giovanni's are the new reamped Giovanni's. It has a brand new menu. It has pizza now. It has new appetizers. It has chicken parmesan. The Oasis of the Seas does not have the newly revamped Giovanni's. It still has the old menu. I did not like it when we ate. I mean, I absolutely did not like their food. When I ate on the Oasis of the Seas, I was very disappointed. But again, Oasis of the Seas doesn't have the new menu. So it's really preference. Some people do like their old menu. I didn't personally. I know my wife didn't. I know her mother didn't. It was just that big of a change of what they did with the menu. And then the rest of them, like I said, Portside Barbecue, pretty good barbecue there as well. You know, you get brisket, whatever barbecue you would find at a regular barbecue restaurant you would find there. They do have good food there and it doesn't cost a whole lot. It's one of those restaurants that you don't reserve online. You go there and you pay if you want to go. You don't have to have a reservation. You can eat there whenever you want. Similar to Johnny Rockets, if you just feel like going there and eating, you just walk up there and eat. Playmakers Bar and Grill, the same thing. Those restaurants are all your pay restaurants. So now let's talk about all of the non-pay restaurants, all the freebies. We'll start out with the main dining room, and that is where you eat at night at a certain time and you have a certain table. Unless you do my time dining and then you just go up there and you have to wait for a table and they sit you wherever they can. If you don't like what's on their menu, they do have like a regular menu that they always serve steak, chicken, something simple. They do also offer, if you decide that you want a filet from chops, you can actually order that in the main dining room. Then they have the Windjammer, which at the time back in November, they still had to serve your food. You couldn't get your own food, but you could at least get your own coffee and teas or whatever that you wanted to drink at the buffet or whatever. The buffet was excellent. Then they have the Solarium Bistro, which is a buffet type of place to eat. They don't offer a ton of stuff, but I've heard it was a really good place to eat. We've never eaten there. I've never eaten there, but I've heard from what they do serve in that bistro, it's pretty good food. Then they have the Park Cafe. It's not a restaurant. It's just like a quick place. It's almost like a deli type of place. They have really good food there. Not a whole lot of options, but they have really good salads. They have a roast beef sandwich that if you get on a Royal Caribbean ship, you need to try out that roast beef sandwich. They're pretty famous for that sandwich. It's really good. Then the other couple of places that they have the Cafe Promenade, which is more of a snack food type of place. You can get desserts there as well, maybe some cookies. There are some things that you have to pay for in the Cafe Promenade, but mostly it's a place where you can get tea, coffee, and then like little snack foods. And then Sorrento's is your pizza place. That's free and that's open 24/7. So if you ever get hungry at 2, 3 o'clock in the morning, you can always go to Sorrento's and get you some pizza. Their pizza there is really good as well. Then they have the Doghouse, which is a hot dog place. If you want a hot dog, you go on the boardwalk, get you a hot dog. That's only open at certain times of the day. And then they have up on the Lido deck area, they have what they call El Loco Fresh, which is their little Mexican place. Tacos, burritos, stuff like that. Again, they don't serve it at night. They don't serve it in the morning. It's more of a like a noon to 3, noon to 4 o'clock thing. That's free as well, but they have really good Mexican variety food there. It is very hard to get around the Windjammer buffet in the morning time. If you're at sea, it's really difficult to get breakfast and lunch in the Windjammer. But when you're at sea, everybody goes to the Windjammer to eat breakfast and everybody goes to the Windjammer to eat lunch. So I would suggest if you're at sea, try to find another place to eat or try to get there super early before the crowd comes in, because again, if 80% of the passengers go to the Windjammer to eat, you're talking about 4,000 people trying to eat in one buffet area. And I just want to remind you guys, if you like this stuff, hit that like button, hit the share button, hit the subscribe button. Please do subscribe. Hit the notification button so you know every time I do put out a new video. I've put out over 60 videos since October. So I'm on a mad terror on putting videos out. I try to do it as much as I can. I hope you do like them. I hope you do enjoy them. I appreciate everybody who has subscribed and hope that you will if you haven't. Thank you guys. And now back to the review. Next, we are going to talk about the rooms. Both times we went on the Oasis of the Seas, both times we had a balcony. Love the balcony. From what I remember, they still don't have USB ports. That's always been my issue with ships, especially older ships, is no USB port. And I've always had to bring like a multi-port charger because I have so much stuff to charge while I'm on the ship because I do so much filming. As far as the Oasis class ship rooms, the balcony rooms, good size, decent size. They're all the exact same size pretty much, unless you get a suite, junior suite or something like that. It's got a bed, get a king or two twins, or they put the two twins together. You usually have a couch, TV. I do like their bathrooms that have the tube shower instead of the curtain. It does get a little cramped in those showers. Royal's always had really clean rooms, really good rooms, and Oasis is no different. Their beds are pretty comfortable. They're not the most comfortable beds I've ever slept in, but they were okay. Pretty much all rooms are laid out similar. I guess one of the downfalls on balcony rooms is they don't have a whole lot of storage space. Limited hangers. They have very skinny closets, so if you have a lot of hang-up clothes, then you might have issues. Drawer space is limited, especially if you have 2 people on a 7-day cruise. Bring 7 days worth of clothes. It does get a little crowded, but not too bad. Now, if you get into having 3 people people in a room, you might have a little bit more trouble as far as space is concerned. You know, I'm nitpicking. The rooms are actually awesome. I've always loved the rooms. Royal Caribbean, Oasis class ships, they keep their rooms super clean. It is an older ship. You got to remember it was built 13, 14 years ago. There's been a lot of people in those rooms in that period of time, so they do get a little bit worn down. But they do a great job of keeping up with the rooms. Kudos to Oasis on their rooms. I like them. Yay. So now we're going to talk about the entertainment on the ship. And we're going to start out with the aqua shows because they are by far my favorite things to watch or to see on any ship, anywhere, anytime. I like watching those more than most things I do on land. For them to do that on the ocean, it just floors me. It amazes me how they are able to put a production like that on a ship in the middle of the ocean. And it was excellent. It was an 80s bass type show. They did 80s music. You know, obviously the dancing. They had the rubber bands that they stretch across the water, and they have two people jumping, and kind of what I'm doing with my hands, doing all these flips and stuff on these two little rubber bands. Divers diving off the platforms. People that are on the ropes doing flips over the audience. Unbelievable show. As we were watching the show, the Tightrope Walker. They have a guy who walks on a tightrope all the way at the very top of the ship from one end to the other. And it's not just a guy who just walks across the rope as fast as he can. He does crazy tricks while he's on the tightrope. As he was doing that, out of nowhere, it just started pouring down rain. As soon as it did that, everybody who was sitting in the open, where they didn't have any cover from the rain, they all got up and got underneath some cover. This dude was still on top of the tightrope, still doing his thing, and would not stop. He actually got up while it was pouring down rain and walked all the way across it, did his tricks, did everything he could. It was unbelievably amazing. If you can't tell by my face how amazing it was, probably my favorite aqua show I've ever seen, just because of that circumstance. And just a great show. My favorite show. Lives up to its hype. If you've never seen an aqua show, you've got to get on the ship just to see that. And other than that, you know, the Royal Theater shows, they had Broadway shows, they had singers, they had a cover band, which was the Beatles cover band. That was unbelievable. Loved watching that. They have some of the best entertainment. Their ice show was excellent. They had a really good ice show as well. Everything on that ship, as far as entertainment was concerned, was excellent. Their comedy shows that they had two different comedians. Both of them were extremely funny. Entertainment's always great. I can't say enough about the aqua show. I don't know how else to explain it. It's just awesome. So activities, we'll start from the top of it, where you have basketball. You can play pickleball at certain times. You can play volleyball, soccer at certain times on the basketball court. They have two flow riders, the zip line, rock climbing walls, arcades there. They have an escape room on the ship, which is cool. They have a few pools, like 3 or 4 pools. Hot tubs, they have a ton of hot tubs all around the Lido deck. The Solarium has pools and hot tubs as well. They have ping pong, shuffleboard, the track that they have on deck 5 that you can run around. Adventure Ocean, which is for all ages. They have from infant all the way to teenager, an area for each and every person to play and do something. They've got so much to do on those ships. There's really no downfall as far as how much stuff you can do, just as far as activities. I mean, you can even go and ice skate in the Studio B area when they don't have ice shows. Pool tables, Playmakers has skee ball, they have arcade games, they have the little basketball games, they have a carousel, the super slide that you go down, the Abyss, which goes from 16 to 6, water park for kids called Splashaway Bay, slides for adults that can go down water slides. I think they have 3 of them. Mini golf. I mean, just a lot of stuff to do, a lot of activities to do. If you get bored on an Oasis class ship, you don't need to be on a ship. They have so much stuff that you can do on those ships that it's almost insane. I guess the only downfall as far as activities are concerned is the fact that there's 6,000 people on the ship, and if everybody wants to go to a pool on a certain day, those pool areas get super crowded. Now they do have plenty of places to lay out but as far as the pools themselves, pretty limited as far as how many people can get in those pools. The Solarium usually is a lot easier to get into and relax and chill because there's no kids allowed, and a lot of people who come on those ships have kids, so that's usually the better option to go to the Solarium. Usually what we did, especially on the Oasis this past November, is when we went to, I think, Nassau, most people that got off the ship, that's when we utilized that time to go to the pool, was able to enjoy the ship itself because there wasn't 2,000 people trying to get in the pool at the same time. So it was really good to do it when you were at a port versus trying to do it when you're at sea. Other than that, pretty much everything you want to do, you can do. It just, some things get a little crowded. Best thing to do is to try to enjoy that stuff when there's not a ton of people out there, which is hard to do, especially at sea. Okay, so now let's talk about the casino on the Oasis of the Seas. The one place that I go to more than any place combined. This one, if you've been on an Oasis class ship before, they're all set up pretty much the same. They have two sides that go either way and a bar right in the middle. The bar area has some seating area in the very front, and they have a smoking side on the right hand side, non-smoking side on the left hand side. Both sides have plenty of gaming tables, blackjack, roulette, craps, poker, all your normal casino games, and both sides have tons of slots. The ship is about 13 years old, so they have updated some of their slot machines. Not a lot, but some of them have been updated. But like every casino that I go to in the Royal Caribbean ships, didn't do well at all in any of them. And I play slot machines, and I gotta say again, Royal Caribbean ships are super tight on their machines. That's the one disappointing thing that I have about Royal Caribbean ships, is they do not pay well in their casino. And I'm not saying that for me personally. I've never see anybody hitting anything on those ships at all. I know some people have had to have hit it for something, but you know, the Oasis ship did not get super packed as far as the casino was concerned. Not a lot of people played those slots because I guess they know what I know, and that's Royal Caribbean doesn't pay well on their slot machines. And I've said it on my other vlogs when I talk about the casinos in Royal Caribbean. They've got to change that. They've got to make those machines a little bit looser. I'm not asking you to pay me off every time, but even their points system is not as good as Carnival's. They don't offer a lot of deals. You don't see a whole lot of free or discounted cruises when you play points in the casino. Carnival does a much better job of giving players in the casino better offers. I've gone on Carnival ships and had 5 or 6 free balcony rooms, free interior rooms, just because I played in their casino and had points on the card. Where Royal Caribbean, you have to have gambled $20,000 before they will even offer you a free interior room. Okay, last thing we'll talk about is the crew of the ship. You know, I've said this on my other vlogs. Royal Caribbean's got some of the best people on the ships that I've ever encountered. Oasis of the Seas ship, no different. Room stewards are excellent. My room steward was awesome on the ship when I went. The waiters, the waitresses, they're awesome. The people who wait on you in the dining room, the people who wait on you in the windjammer, the buffet area, specialty restaurants, they're really good, helpful, nice, all the positive words you can think of people. All of the people that do the entertainment, like the trivias and stuff like that, they're always fun and nice. So thumbs up with the crew members on the Royal Caribbean Oasis of the Seas.
Whoop! Wardrobe change. 5 seconds later, I got a haircut and changed my shirt. Yeah, I did all that in just a couple minutes. So let's rate everything on the ship, starting with the layout of the ship. And I will give it a 9 out of 10 on the Oasis class ships because, and every Oasis class ship I will do is going to be a 9 out of 10 because they're pretty much all exactly laid out the exact same way. Even though it's such a big ship, it is very easy to get around. Everything that you need to get to is in those areas. There's no maze, there's no tricks to getting from one place to the other. The only downfall about ships that size is the walking. walking, because you do a lot of walking when you're on those ships, especially, if you get a room, you want to try to get right in the middle, because if you're on one side of the ship and you got to go to the other side of the ship, there's a lot of walking involved. That being said, you want to try to get in the middle. It's harder to, because those are the ones that book up first, but if you don't have issues walking around, then it'll be a easy breezy, get you some exercise type of thing. The layout of the ship is marvelous. Did I just say marvelous? That ship is marvelous. It's a great ship. Layout of the ship is awesome. So 9 out of 10 for the layout. Next, obviously, the muster station, 10 out of 10. I'll do the muster station every ship review I have, because there are some differences on other ships. But as far as Royal's concerned, easy peasy, lemon squeezy. You get on a ship, you go find your muster station. They show you how to put a life jacket on. 30 seconds, you're done. You do have to watch a couple of videos that are on your app, but once you do that, you're good to go. Free range to do whatever you want. Muster station is just hopefully forever that way. It's so much easier and so much more convenient. So yeah, 10 out of 10 on the muster station, obviously. Now we're going to talk about the food on the ship. We went back in November, and during that time the food was really good. Talking about dining room food, talking about buffet food, plenty to choose from. So 9 out of 10 on the free dining as far as main dining room and the buffet is concerned. And also their little small areas to eat that's for free, including Sorrento's and all those other free places. The paid restaurants, Azumi's is good. I don't like the fact that they upcharge $10 per person after you actually pay to go to that restaurant to eat, and then they turn around and charge you again. That's ridiculous. Chopped Grill is always wonderful. We didn't eat at 150 Central Park, but I know every person I've talked to that has eaten there said it's really good food. My downfall, Giovanni's, because they still have the old menu. They do not have the revamped, brand new menu in Giovanni's on the Oasis class ship. So that's a big negative. I talked about this on my Freedom review. They have the new menu from Giovanni's, and it's completely different and so much better than the old Giovanni's. So the paid restaurants, I'm going to have to give it a 6 out of 10 just because of that. They really do need to up their game, and they need to revamp all the Giovanni's. So now we are in the entertainment part of it. Entertainment, I'm going to give 9 out of 10 simply because of the Aqua Show. Oasis of the Seas had the 80s Aqua Show, which was probably the best show that I have seen on any ship. They did a Back to the Future theme, played some music out of that. Just a really good show, a lot of variety. Obviously it's a water show, so they did a lot of swimming, dancing, tightrope walking, rubber band bouncing, I don't know what they call that, diving. Just a really great show. It is so cool to see that Aqua Show on a ship. If you haven't done it, you need to get on an Oasis class ship just to see that show, because it's probably one of the best productions that you will find on a ship. Now, their other shows were awesome as well, because they actually had a Beatles cover band in the Royal Theater, plus it was also in the music hall. So when they weren't making their big show in the Royal Theater, they also did their little small show in the music hall from like 10 to midnight, and they played all kinds of Beatles hits. They dressed up like the Beatles, they looked like the Beatles, they sounded like the Beatles. Just a really great show. And their ice show obviously is really cool to see as well. But the shows on the Oasis of the Seas was awesome, and I hope they have the same shows, because they were really good, and I really did enjoy all the shows that we did go to. Alright, now we're going to talk about the activities. So for the activities, I'll give it an 8 out of 10. The reason why I'm giving it an 8 out of 10 instead of better, because to me that's maybe underselling it a little bit, because they do have so many things that you can do on the ship. It really just depends on your age group and who you have and what they like to do. I've seen younger kids get on a ship like that and enjoy it and love everything about it. I've seen teenagers get on a ship and get bored in 2 days and say there's nothing for them to do. So it's really all about the person that's getting on the ship. One thing I will say, if you do take a teenager or a younger person that is old enough to do things on their own, they need to take a friend with them. For adults, I would give it a 9 out of 10 because you can do whatever you want on the ship. But for younger folks, there's limits, and there's certain things that kids obviously can't do on the ship. They try to accommodate for all ages, but again, it just depends on the kid. So 8 out of 10. I hope that made sense, because I had to think about it. Okay, the casino. I'm going to give it a 7 out of 10. And the reason is because I never win on Royal Caribbean ships. And and the Oasis was no different. They are so tight on the Royal Caribbean ships. Not just me, but other people as well. The casino's nice. They have a lot of slot machines. They have table games. They have a nice bar in the middle. They got a smoking side, a non-smoking side. But the payouts are horrible on Royal Caribbean ships. When you gamble on a Royal Caribbean ship, speaking for the Oasis of the Seas as well, you don't get a very good program as far as earning points and getting things for gambling in the casinos like you do the Carnival. When you go in a casino, that's what you do. You put your card in, you accumulate points on that cruise and hope that you can get some kind of incentive from gambling in the casinos like all casinos do. And Royal Caribbean does not give you really good offers. One of the main reasons why I cruise Carnival now more than the Royals is because they keep sending me offers. They keep sending me cruises, and why would I turn them down if they keep sending them to me? So Royal really needs to figure that one out. You don't want to go in a casino and never win anything. They got to improve on that. So 7 out of 10 for their casino. All right, so let's talk about the rooms. Rooms I will give an 8 out of 10. They do a good job of upkeeping those rooms and making sure that they're still clean and consistently working. The rooms were clean. One thing I would suggest when you do go on cruises, and the first thing that you should do when you get into your room is check everything that you have in your room. Check your air condition, because I know that people have had air conditioner issues in some rooms, that your toilet flushes properly, because you don't want to get blamed for something that happened that you had nothing to do with. TV, obviously, make sure your channels turn, make sure your remote works, make sure your power outlets work, make sure your phones work. Do all that as soon as you get in a room. That way, if you don't, 2 or 3 days later, you find out, oh, there's something wrong with this, then they're going to say, well, it was working the last time. No, it wasn't. Then, you know what I mean? Just make sure everything's working the way it should be, and if it's not, immediately call maintenance or call your room steward so you can go ahead and get it fixed before you start sailing off. Okay, and next we're going to talk about the crew on the ship. 9 out of 10 on the crew. Wonderful crew members. Room steward was awesome. Waiters, the waitresses were awesome. The people in the buffets were great. All of our waiters and waitresses in the specialty restaurants were really good. They really go above and beyond to try to make you happy. Bartenders, the same thing. Entertainers, all of them. They're just a really good batch of employees on the Royal Caribbean ship. Okay, so my overall rating of the Oasis is an 8 out of 10. That's 8. You do this, that's 3. This way, it's 8. That's a whole deadliest catch thing that I learned. So yes, an 8 out of 10. Oasis of the Seas is a great ship. Only downfalls, again, Giovanni's needs to be revamped. It can get overcrowded in certain areas at certain times, especially the buffet when you are at sea. Sometimes the theater can get super crowded. There are always downfalls with certain ships and certain things. Being that it is a huge ship, there's a lot of walking involved, a lot of people on the ship, but it's so big, and the way they do their neighborhoods, you know, it's just so cool because you don't even feel like you're on the ship half the time. It's just a great ship to experience, and if you haven't, you need to try it at least one time. Highly recommend it. 8 out of 10 for the Oasis of the Seas. I love that ship. Just a couple improvements and it'll be a 9 out of 10. So all right, that wraps it up for another edition of my IMO series on the Vacation Voyagers vlog channel, my ship review of the Oasis of the Seas. Thank you guys so much for watching. I appreciate it. Again, please subscribe to my channel, hit that like button, hit that share button. If you have any questions about anything we've talked about or I've talked about these ships, if you have any comments, any suggestions, anything you want to know, anything you want to say, leave it in the comments below. Thank you guys so much for watching. I will see you guys next time. Peace and love. And I will see you on my next voyage. I need a cruise. Bye.